Hey everyone, now that I've finished up my episodes on the Davidic period in First Temple Judaism, I thought it might be a good idea to address some of the mistakes I made and elaborate on certain things that didn't make it into the videos. But first, a few announcements. First of all, I want to thank everyone who has recently discovered this channel. It's still a long way from where I want it to be, but I'm really happy to see that people are seeking it out and finding these videos. Second, these videos are made possible in part through contributions from viewers like you. If you want to support this channel, you can donate on Patreon, link in the description. Otherwise, you can continue to like, share, and subscribe. And thirdly, my book, An Armada of Cats Travels in Israel, is now available as an ebook, which is also linked in the description. In this video, I didn't really explain the link between the Natufians and the Canaanites or Semites, and that's because it isn't very clear. DNA testing shows that Natufians share some common ancestry with people who were living in Africa or in Europe at that time, but it doesn't map very closely with any people group living today, at least not with the information we currently have. It isn't very satisfying, but I thought it was interesting. In the video, I also said that archaeologists in the Levant are always finding more evidence of Stone Age habitation, and just in the weeks since that video came out, the Israel Antiquities Authority announced that it had uncovered an entire Neolithic city near a neighborhood of Jerusalem called Motza. The dig had actually begun 4 years ago due to highway construction, but was only announced this summer, and it's a huge find because it's one of the largest cities found from the end of the last ice age, it's one of the most complete sites ever found, and it's the only city of its vintage to have been discovered in the Judean mountains. Previously, it was hypothesized that humans avoided living in the mountains at that time. And again, link in the description. Now, where did I get my images for the kings of Judah, and why do they all have red hair? All of the icons I used in these episodes to depict the Davidic royal family come from a collection of woodcuts called the Promptuarium Iconum Insignorium by the Renaissance printer Guillaume Rouillet. Obviously, there are no confirmed contemporary images of any Jewish kings, and Rouillet probably modeled his portraits after people he knew, but his images win out by virtue of being so comprehensive and so uniform in their size and shape, which makes them really easy to use in graphs. Okay, but Rouillet's icons are in black and white, so where did I get redheads? Well, contrary to popular depictions of the Middle East, redheads are not that uncommon in West Asia or North Africa. And this is especially true of Jews. Even in Renaissance Europe, where red hair was measurably more common, red hair was seen as stereotypically Jewish. Within Judaism, King David and his descendants are associated with red hair because the book of Samuel describes David as Admoni, which is usually translated in English as ruddy, but is actually Hebrew for redhead. Admoni derives from Adom, which means red, and comes from the same root as Adama, which means soil, and ultimately Dam, which means blood. So without any evidence to the contrary, I deferred to traditional imagery. The original Elohim are fascinating to me for a bunch of reasons, but probably most for how it relates to Greek mythology. As I said in episode 2, the Danites and Philistines were almost certainly what we would today think of as Greek peoples, and a solid amount of mythology found its way from there into Canaanite paganism. The clearest example of this is Anat, the war goddess, who probably originated as Athena, but this crossover even survives in the Bible through the story of Samson, which shares a lot more in common with Greek heroics than it does with the other biblical judges. But this goes both ways. Aphrodite, for example, was a later addition to the Greek pantheon from the Hebrew goddess Ashtart by way of Phoenician colonists on the island of Kythera. And the Phoenicians were Canaanites. They referred to themselves as Canaanim. Also, Hades might be a Hebrew import because he doesn't appear to have existed in Bronze Age Greece, but Persephone did. And the Hebrew underworld god Haron was married to one of 3 sisters who were collectively the goddesses of winter. And finally, a correction. In episode 4, I said that there were 24 priestly families in Judah, even as the graphics showed there being 25. What happened was, I recorded audio before designing the graphic, and in the process of doing further research for the graphic, I discovered that the Katzim, the high priests, existed in addition to the 24 priestly families, rather than being one of them. So look forward to Second Temple Judaism. It's personally my favorite part of Jewish history. It's a lot better documented than the Davidic period, and the stories and personalities that come out of it feel, to me at least, a lot more modern. I'll see you then.